Hello, we are ACGOM. Uh, we were modding Fallout New Vegas, and our mod name was IRS New Vegas. So, what is IRS New Vegas? As you make your way past the Mojave outpost, you are warned by a mysterious woman to stay away for unknown reasons. You choose to ignore her, and you will be met with IRS, who will then rob you of your caps under the guise of doing your taxes. You will then need to talk to other people around the outpost and find where IRS is hiding. Once there, you'll be turned back by the security guard because of the weapons you're carrying. You will then need to find a way to get inside. This will lead you back to the mysterious woman at the beginning, and she will provide you with a briefcase which will allow you to get into the building. You will then get into the building where you will fight a bunch of office workers on your way up to the top floor, where you will have your final boss battle with IRS. Once you beat him, he will give you his cool briefcase that you can use as a melee weapon. So, hi, we're the team. Aiden Frank, he is our mod kit and playtest guy. I am Gia Lopez, the team lead and NPC designer. Sejin Meng is our level designer. Owen Wicker is our lead programmer and loot developer. And Kieran Wyatt is our enemy and quest designer / developer. So our original design was that we wanted to have IRS actually be 3 different people. We wanted our mobs to be regular humans wearing business attire and wielding briefcases. Originally, we wanted to try to have 2 enemy types, like a regular enemy and then just like a manager, which would be slightly stronger. Our final boss would have been a mixture of IR and S. It was essentially a very simple quest, which was go into the building and fight enemies. Our final product actually is IRS is 1 character. We have multiple NPCs, multiple extra NPCs. Evasion informs and gives briefcase to the player. We have weapon confiscation with security guard and an extra NPC that just tells you where to find other people. We also added more stages of the quest, and we hit most of our stretch goals, which had voice acting, better NPC behavior, and more complex levels.
So our changes, why did we make them? So IRS, we kept them as a single NPC because while we wanted to hit our stretch goals and we had time in our schedule to hit them, we just had life in the way and emergent development. So having feedback from playtests and feedback from presentations really pushed back our stretch goals because we wanted to implement those ideas and the feedback first. We had 3 more NPCs than originally planned, and those came about from technological implementations of having multiple of the same NPC in more than one place at the same time. And so the additional NPCs filled out the roles that would have been given to other NPCs. And we added more quest stages because our mod needed to be longer. It was very short from what it was. So we just needed to add more. Weapon confiscation. We wanted the player to only use the weapon we created for the mod, just to give them a chance to try it out, play with it a little bit, and also kind of gives them a reason to have the basic briefcase, because you get the basic briefcase so close to the special loot briefcase. We only had 1 enemy type because the deadline limitations, and we felt we needed to focus on other areas of the mod.
Our individual member contributions. Now, before we get into this, I just want to preface that as a team, we all contributed, communicated, and worked well together to kind of encourage and incorporate everyone's ideas with our important design decisions and the direction of our mod. But specifically, each team member had a specific role that generally defined what work that they would be responsible. So what I did is I initially set up Gek, Edit, and Z-Edit, the version control we used with this mod. I created 2 NPCs, the security guard and Christoph Shore. I did love the names. I also helped set up the initial quest, worked with some camera transitions and fading, ran the playtest, and recorded the evasion voice lines.
So as team lead, I also worked a lot on just documentation, milestone presentations, and our Trello. But specifically for the mod, I created dialogue for all NPCs using Twine and a mixture of Google Docs and Gek. I created our Evasion NPC. I implemented dialogue for all of those NPCs, and I recorded and implemented dialogue for Christoph Shore and IRS.
Uh, I created 4 different floor level for the IRS building, fix many bugs regarding floor, walls, and ceilings, move the building to the specific location, and record the dialogue for the security guard NPC.
As the loot developer, I created a basic briefcase weapon based off of a briefcase object that was already in the game, and then I also made the special loot variant of it, which can scale damage based on the amount of caps you store in it. I also scripted out the mugging portion when the IRS comes and takes all your caps, and as well as when the security guard takes your weapons. And then for each milestone, I made sure to merge all the files together and do general bug fixes to make sure everything's working.
And I was the one who created multiple versions of the IRS NPC, not the split version like the 3 IRNS, but a boss and a quest version. The quest version is the one that mugs you and introduces you to the whole thing, and the boss version is the one you beat the crap out of. I created and set up the quest and quest stages for the just like everything, how GEC works behind the scenes, everything involved in a quest. Got to make sure they all can speak to each other and properly work together. Created the office worker enemies, and as well as all of the different bug fixes and problems that arose when you had to edit the quest.
So for our mod, we made few NPCs, and were made within GEC. They're all unique to our mod. And as well as I mentioned earlier, the briefcase is a new weapon in the game. It is based off of an old asset in the game known as the briefcase detonator. So I just took the NIF file that uses and made it so it could be turned into a weapon. And then I took the briefcase texture file and made it a little golden for the loot briefcase version.
For the work breakup, we try to break up work basic on member responsibilities. Aiden helped with a little bit of everything. Kieran worked on LS quest and the enemies. Uh, Gia worked on the NPCs and the dialogue. Owen worked on weapon loot and the bug fixing, and me work on the level design.
All right, some of the technical challenges we had. A big one was having multiple of the same NPC, especially if you wanted some of them to be invincible and some of them to be fightable. Having the two of them, just teleporting them around, was a big logistical hassle. Additionally, the quest progression, depending on where you would put the points, sometimes the quest would progress weirdly. Especially because we did a lot of like teleporting into the level instead of just walking up. So we had to look at that. Merging files. Initially, we tried using Xedit, wasn't the best. Tried to use GitHub, tried to use Google Drive, and also yeah, just some of the GEC functions were kind of busted. How we resolve them. So we use ZEdit in combination with Xedit for version control. This allowed us to actually like edit and merge the files. But they would have to be done manually. Thanks, Owen, a literal legend. And we also made sure to use only built-in GEC functions, so we didn't need to go breaking things. We try to use GEC. All right, member contribution. I switched the mod over from Xedit to ZEdit, and Owen merged the files manually, and he allowed the loot briefcase to be opened from anywhere.
So, for progress tracking, the team used Trello to distribute tasks and meet deadlines. We had reminders and weekly team meetings and team Discord, and we had regular check ins during class. This allowed us to make sure we knew what we were doing every week. And even if we weren't communicating always, we had the Trello to let us know what had to be done and what else had to happen for the mod to work.
So as mentioned earlier, one of the technical challenges we faced early on and throughout the semester was version control. We initially tried a bunch of approaches from Xedit to Google Drive to GitHub, but they didn't all work quite how we wanted to. So eventually we settled on using Xedit and Zedit together to merge some of the files manually at the end of every production week so that everything was all good to go.
So what we would do differently if given a second chance. Uh, First of all, we'd probably would come up with a clearer plan on what to do for version control earlier in the semester. When we chose the mod, we knew that version control was going to be a little shaky, but we didn't know exactly how shaky until weeks later when we first were like, okay, how do we merge all of our files? And it became a real headache when we figured that one out. Uh, and we playtested a little bit, but not as much as we should have, especially with like later versions and iterations of the mod. So it would be nice to have a little bit more feedback and a little bit more just like other eyes on the mod. And we should flesh out the mod a little bit more like over time so that we didn't need to scramble to add everything all at the very end.
So, in conclusion, we did have a great mod that we think we are very proud of. Um, we think Gek is kind of sucky. It's not great. It's very old and definitely needs some love. Uh, the monkey was great, like always. Look at him. He's so cool. We also did have great teamwork, which allowed us to be flexible in how we tackle challenges and changes to the mod, especially since at the beginning of the mod we really had a short scope, I guess, which meant that we were able to finish that very fast. And then we had a very short mod that needed to be extended. So we were able to quickly, as a team, decide how we wanted to progress forward with that. And honestly, I think it worked very well. And I am very happy with what we have. And I think as overall as a team, we did a pretty good job. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for listening.